Good morning or good evening to all, depending on your location. Imagine being chosen at 6 years old to hold the fate of 50 million Romans in your hands. One mistake, one moment of human desire, and you would be buried alive. This was the life of a Vestal virgin, Esene, the most powerful and most doomed women of ancient Rome. But where does this mysterious name come from? Vestal comes from the Latin Vestalis, literally, she who belongs to Vesta, the goddess of the hearth. This terrifying institution was created around 715 BC by King Numa Pompilius, the second legendary king of Rome. The term used to select you is even more chilling, captio, which means capture in Latin, because that's exactly what will happen to you. You will be captured, taken from your family forever. The first 4 Vestals were called Gegenia, Venanea, Canulea, and Tarpeia. Tarpeia became sadly famous as a traitor in Roman legend. So what does it feel like to be in the skin of a future Vestal? You're barely old enough to understand why your mother cries when men in white robes arrive at your villa. You might be playing with your wax dolls when suddenly, grave voices echo in the family atrium. Your father, usually so proud, lowers his eyes and whispers your name to the Pontifex Maximus. You don't yet know that these few minutes will determine the next 30 years of your life, or your death. The high priest examines you like a merchant, inspects a slave at market. Are your teeth perfect? Are your limbs well formed? Can you speak clearly? He even checks your ears to ensure you can hear the sacred orders properly. The criteria are merciless. You must come from the patrician elite. Both your parents must be alive and married, and you must have no physical defect. If you pass this terrifying inspection, the Pontifex Maximus pronounces the words that seal your destiny. Amata, I choose you to perform the sacred acts that a Vestal must perform. Your mother cannot even say goodbye to you. You now belong to the Roman state. Once captured, you are taken to the Temple of Vesta for the most traumatic ceremony of your life. Your hair is cut in the Sini Creen style, 6 ritual braids that frame your temples, like a bride. But you are marrying civil death. You are dressed in a white stola, the robe of Roman matrons, ironic for a child who will never know motherhood. The suffibulum, a white bridal veil, is attached to your head with a sacred fibula. You look like a bride, but you are now the bride of Rome itself. The Pontifex Maximus takes you by the hand and pronounces the words that seal your fate. Te, amata, capio. You, amata, I capture. You are no longer your parents' daughter. You belong to the state. You are brought to the Atrium Vestae, your prison for the next 30 years. This 3-story residence with 50 rooms is located at the heart of the Roman Forum, the most prestigious place in the empire. You have your own apartment, servants, even lictors, those bodyguards normally reserved for superior magistrates. You feel so powerful and proud there. However, make no mistake, it is a prison. You live with 5 other girls in the same situation. The older ones teach you during your first 10 years. Then you become an active priestess for 10 years. And finally, you teach the new ones during your last 10 years. A Sisyphean rock of detention. Your day begins before dawn. You rise for your turn, watching over the sacred fire. If this flame goes out for even a second, Rome falls, quote, and it's automatically your fault, because it's supposedly proof of your sexual impurity. Every morning, you collect sacred water from a pure spring with a special jug. You prepare the mola salsa, this ritual flour that you sprinkle on public offerings. Your child's hands manipulate sacred objects thousands of years old, including the Palladium, the statue of Pallas Athena, supposedly brought from Troy. On March 1st each year, it's the ultimate test. You must relight the sacred fires by rubbing 2 pieces of fruit wood together. No lighter, no help. If you fail, Rome is in danger, and your life hangs by a thread. But the worst part is the constant surveillance. Day and night, you take turns. Vigilasne, Rex, Vigila. Are you watching, King? Watch! You cry in the darkness to the Rex Sacrorum who shares this responsibility. In compensation for this prison, you gain powers that no other Roman woman possesses. You can own property, write your will, testify in court without a male guardian. Senators stand when you enter. You have a place of honor at the Colosseum Games. Even more incredible, you can pardon a condemned man to death simply by crossing his path. One word from you, and a man destined for crucifixion regains freedom. The richest families entrust you with their wills. You are the safest human vault in the empire. You travel by chariot in Rome, preceded by lictors. You are invited to the most prestigious banquets. You are consulted to resolve family conflicts. At 16, you have more political power than most adult men, but all of this rests on a thread: your absolute virginity. Not just physical, even thinking about a man is forbidden. If you are accused of impurity, even on mere suspicion, the punishment is atrocious. You are taken alive in a funeral procession, then lowered into an underground chamber with just a little bread and water. The entrance is walled up. You die slowly, alone in the dark, suffocated or starved. After 30 years of this golden ordeal, you are free to marry at 36 to 40 years old. But most of you choose to renew your vows, because after 3 decades of absolute power, how can you accept becoming a husband's property? You have lived as history's most privileged prisoner, worshipped like a goddess, but controlled like a slave, holding an empire's destiny in your child's hands, under the permanent threat of the most horrible death imaginable. Such was the sad life of Rome's Vestals. If you enjoyed this story, don't hesitate to like and subscribe.